Hi, in this video I'm going to start by showing you my dashboard change. It's a common upgrade with Suzuki Carries to basically swap your dash out with an Alto or Ignis dash, in my case an Alto dash, and you gain a rev counter. Now when you're buying the dash, make sure you get one with the right code. If you're buying an Alto dash, it should end in FDO. The first dash I bought was the wrong one, ended in FEO, and I couldn't get everything to work, and it was very frustrating. But when you get the FDO version, it's literally plug in and play, and it's great. So I also changed the lights out. This is the first lot of lights I've done, but I later changed them for blue LEDs. So the next thing to deal with was the fuel line. The filler to the tank was really nasty and it was leaking, so I replaced it out with a genuine Suzuki part. As you can see, I've only got a few pictures, but if you do this job, I suggest that you do get the proper Suzuki parts, because I have done this job before on a previous car, and I bought one from a breaker, and really, you need a new one. Buying an old one, it's just going to go again. Now, in the process of fitting the fuel pipe, I actually got some petrol on the paintwork of my van, and it took this nasty grey stuff that's on the side right off, and I didn't like the nasty grey paintwork, so I decided to take it all off. It was some pretty hideous repairs and so on, and I hadn't got time to touch them properly at the minute, so obviously I got the smooth right out and I just put a bit of smooth right over it for now, but later on I will be properly spraying this up and treating it and sorting it all out and making it look decent. Now the paint that was all round was like a bitumen paint, and it was really nasty, but the petrol fetched it straight off, and it was a nasty job, but it needed to be done. So I will sort it out at a later date. I know it looks a bit of a mess for now, but the blue is better than the bitumen paint. Also, petrol is cheaper than paint stripper. So I decided to treat myself to some new wind deflectors from Climb Air. I think they look really good, and I do like wind deflectors on my cars, because obviously you can drive around when it's raining with your window down a tad, and I think they look really good as well. So I stripped the passenger side of the van as well. Found some nasty paint defects here and there, but I'll tidy it up, and it was a good excuse to put a bit of smooth right on, really. But it was a lot tidier, as you can see, and it's protected for the winter, and I'll deal with it when I get chance. So next I decided to be brave and drill a hole in the roof and fit myself a DAB aerial. I put it at the back because I thought it looked more modern, and I figured that if it leaked, it'd leak in the back and not all over me in the cab. I also fitted my dash cam front and back, and then I decided to have a bit of a mess around with the dashboard, fitted some switches, might change them later, and decided to fit a double DIN stereo. Now, I know it's not an expensive stereo, but the sound quality is pretty decent, and I've used this stereo in some of my other cars, and I'm quite happy with it. I think it's great. Sorry about the poor audio, but I've only got the front speakers fitted at this point. But now the stereo went in and it works great, and so I decided to deal with the tailgate. As you can see, there's a few rust patches, which is typical of tailgates on Suzuki Carries, but I just cleaned the loose rust off and put some smooth right on and just touched them up, and I will be spraying them and sorting them out properly later on. So I then proceeded to fit my reversing camera. Now I like to use these number plates with the camera built in because your view from the camera is central and it sort of cuts out on drilling and fixing into the tailgate or cutting. So I'd already got some of these from a previous car, so I fitted it, but I had to lower it down slightly and cut it around the lock because it was clashing. I've wired them in before, so I not only wire in the rear camera, but I also wire in a camera for the front as well. Now it's only a little van, I don't really need the front camera so much on this vehicle, but I know how to do it, so I thought it was worth doing. And you know, if you want to get in a really tight space, I can park really tight, you know, within an inch. So I had an idea to switch out the heater switches for dust caps. I use these little electric connections, and I just thought it looked a bit better. I thought they were a bit old-fashioned and dull, the original ones. And I've got loads of dust caps, so I can change it to whatever I like. As you can see, that's my front number plate with the camera. I also got a skull, a Punisher skull. I got the sticker for the boot, and I also got a little Punisher badge for the front bonnet because there was a hole left from where they used to have the original Jaguar badge there, and I was just trying to make it look a bit better, really. So next I decided to start insulating some of the inside. I'm a bit wary of, I don't want to cover up rust with the insulation, so I made sure everywhere was clean, rust-free, and put it in areas where I didn't think it was going to rust. I then started to take a bit of the headlining down and ended up taking the whole headlining out and cleaning it. And I run all my wires from the cameras, rerouted them all. I replaced all the fittings that hold the roof in with riv nuts so that I can bolt them in rather than it relying on the plastic grommets you get. And then I insulated the whole lot front to back, and I was quite amazed how well the roof cleaned up actually. Bit of carpet cleaner and it come up a treat. And then I replaced all the nuts I put in with some neat Allen key nuts, which I think look quite neat. I then turned my attention to the rear speakers. I decided on putting a blue Japanese flag under a grille. I wanted to protect the speakers. I bought some 6x9 Kenwoods, and my main issue was that there wasn't a lot of room on the tailgate for the depth of the speaker. So I decided to make a box that would go on the front, and I still had to do a bit of cutting, as you can probably see, but I didn't want to cut away too much really. And then I covered over the speakers with another speaker grill for extra protection because, you know, I'm going to use this as a van and I didn't want them getting battered. So although I've tried to make it look reasonable, it's really about protecting the speakers. So I made this box, fit the speakers into them, and you know, as you can see, it's not too deep. And then I decided to fit that to the tailgate. It all went in quite nice, really. As you can see, I insulated it, and I'm quite happy with it. I picked the flag idea just because I've got a blue van. I thought it'd be a nice little touch and a bit subtle. And I proceeded to fit the speaker, and I put a bit of a plastic surround on it, which I may have to deal with a bit later on because it's not quite right. But I'm very happy with it. It sounds great. The only issue I did have was that it was too heavy for my struts. So in the next episode, you'll probably see me changing out the struts.